Good evening. Today is Wednesday, April 16th, 2025. Show date for Thursday, the 17th. All right, let's go. Well, as far as setups, let's stick with this UNM. There are a few shorts in here, as you can see. There was actually like 2,900 or so I went through tonight. Just almost every stock in the world is set up as a short, but as I've been saying quite a bit, you want to focus on those at a higher level. So that's just these are all still pretty much higher levels. UNM for now. If the market wouldn't have got hit so hard today, we might be going after a few more of them, but I think we need to follow through on the UNM. I think it's still worth a shot. Overall day okay, or the overall day was okay in the portfolio, obviously. The AGI is getting fairly close at IPT. It came really close this morning, or close enough to take profits, especially in a market that's as volatile and crazy as it's been lately. Remember, the first loaf is not where the real money is, and I hate to use the word hope, but hopefully the second loaf is where the real money is. The trailing stop on the trending loaf as opposed to the swing trade or the short-term loaf. So feel free to lock and load on that. We are fairly close there, and we were a lot closer, obviously, early this morning. Here's a UNM. Again, I like this one because it's still at high levels and just beginning to break down. It's got a long ways to go. Even if it triggers, it just makes the old lows. That would be a good start on that one. But as I would say quite a bit, you want these stocks that are in general at fairly higher levels. And the short side, a lot of issues because you need plenty of volume, and then some of these have like a little support down below, and I'm going to probably cull them down even further. I culled down quite a few, obviously, earlier tonight based on the support below and all. These financial-related stocks, or looks like they're still in a lot of trouble, and they're a lot of them, especially those that are insurance-related and asset management-related, or still at fairly high levels and still a long ways to go on the downside. Anyway, RCL, also a cruise line like CCL, looks like it's in trouble too, pulling back. But for now, let's just stick with the UNM, and obviously we'll reevaluate that on a day-by-day basis. Let's take a look at the portfolio, then we'll pop out to the overall market and sector action. AGI, not a bad day. Opening gap, somewhat of a reversal there, but still managed to hang on to 0.70 on the day, better than a poke in the eye, right here at all-time highs. Again, the IPT 3150, it made it to 31. Close enough in this particular case, especially when they take off like this and they go fairly quickly over a short period of time. And gold's been kind of melting up as of late, and we'll get to that in just 1 second. So go ahead and feel free to lock and load a little early when that happens. CCL actually set up again as a short, kind of like the RCL. Looks like it's still in lots of trouble. It's down here toward this support, so I wouldn't rush out and take on a new position, but obviously keep the existing position on until and unless stopped out. I guess until eventually stopped out. TPR, nice little thrust lower off its worst levels, but at least it's moving back in the right direction. This one looks like it's got a long ways to go before it finds any support. Let's take a look at the overall market. And, of course, drill down a bit. First of all, S&P 500 getting whacked pretty hard, 2.25%. It doesn't look as ugly as you would think at 2.25%. This is just how volatile this market has gotten as of late. As I've been saying, looks like we had the potential to come down at the least and challenge the recent lows. Major and minor sell signals have triggered, as you know, there, as I've been saying ad nauseum. Nasdaq Composite, gap lower, fairly hard sell-off, down 3% and change on the day, off its worst levels, but still, as you can see, ugly nonetheless. The Rusty get creamed as hard as the rest of them, but it's been beat up pretty bad for a long time. So far, though, just pulling back from lows, and looks like it remains in a pretty serious downtrend. Throw a dart at the sectors. Most have just kind of pulled back and now are beginning to sell off a little bit. That's bots and AI, cybersecurity beginning to sell off. Easy for me to say. EFA shares turning back down a little in here. I wouldn't get too excited about these guys just yet since they had a serious rally, but it still looks like they could be in trouble. Take a look at the euro right here at these new highs. So that's euro up, obviously dollar down, and dollar down will help push commodities higher because commodities are dollar denominated. There's a pound. You can see pretty serious move higher there as of late. Gold, a commodity, bam, look at that, winning, breaking out to all-time highs. Gold stocks looking pretty good too. A little bit of an opening gap reversal there. Kind of like the AGI. Again, back to throwing a dart, broker-dealer, biotech, software, medical devices. Again, the list goes on and on. Insurance is one of those areas that's kind of still at fairly high levels. And I think, as I've been saying quite a bit, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Same thing goes for and the MG group for insurance. All service stocks, kind of Flatsville, but they're looking abysmal at best. Take a look at telecom again, pulling back from lows, beginning to it's pulled back from lows and looks like it wants to go back down and challenge those lows. And same thing for financials, which had a fairly deep pullback, beginning to sell off fairly hard. Let's take a look at semis and we'll wrap it up. Semiconductors, again, like most of the other areas, selling off fairly hard, down 4% and change today. Bonds, just a little bit of a bounce there. Not enough to get excited, but at least they found some support recently, and at least the baby isn't getting completely thrown out with the bathwater. Good to see a little bit of a bid in bonds. I hate it when all the sectors go down because that means it's really, really ugly, but it's ugly enough for now. Everybody have a fantastic night. If you have any questions, you know the routine. Thank you so much.